Right?
Beautiful day, man. I mean, what else could you do today? I mean, besides come out, kick back, visit a favorite winery of mine, and talk some Birds football.
Well, let's tell them what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you may recognize us from the past, from Tales from the Blind Side, a little pod we did, post-game show. Well, we're bored, and we want to talk shop, and also enjoy some beautiful wine. So we are bringing you O-Line Rewind, where we're going to chop up the previous games, trench battles, talk about how we did, stuff like that, and also travel around to some, local wineries and spotlight the growers and some of their wines.
Yeah, so today, since this is going to be our first show after, those 3 preseason games pretty much, to just get
Since we didn't play preseason.
Yeah, since we didn't play a preseason.
Kinks out.
Yeah, get the kinks out. So it's been 3 games. So that's the 3 preseason games they would have gotten in. We want to kick this off at one of my favorite wineries, which is Blue Cork Winery. One of the most beautiful grounds that I've ever seen over here in New Jersey. And once in a little bit, we'll make sure that we bring the owner in and just have them explain some of the process. But let's go ahead and get into it, man.
Yeah. So we're at Blue Cork.
Yes.
Right? We're going to take a little sip of their first one.
Oh, yeah,
Kick
absolutely.
off the show.
Cheers.
What is this called?
This is
Chambord?
Yeah, something like that. I believe that.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, you know what? I need to get the card.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
So anyway,
but he picked some grapes off one of the vines for us.
These are the grapes that are growing directly behind us.
Yeah. So here we go, and we're going to eat one of the grapes and then drink some of the wine. All right. Had some seeds in there. Yeah, threw me off. Yeah, caught me off guard there. So what do you think?
That's very good.
Yeah, I like that.
I do like it.
Yes, it is. It is great. It's full body. Let's talk about it like we.
Yeah,
it's a full body wine. It's red. But it's
it's
very
red.
beautiful. I like it.
But it does look a little light, almost like a noir.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right.
But we'll become more educated as we do this.
As we continue on.
Yeah.
This is our first stop.
Let's catch up.
Yeah.
What do you think about the play of the O-line, D-line thus far into the season for the first 2 games? Let's say the first 2 games, we can talk a little more in detail about game 3, but there were some heavy expectations coming into the season for the O-line.
Yeah, there were a lot of expectations going into this game, but I think that, of course, defense is always going to catch out a lot quicker, but I thought that the offensive line, as they continued on, they got stronger, they got better, they started running the ball a lot more, being a lot more effective with the run game. And then I think in protection, you saw a couple times where they gave up some pressure, some quarterback hits, but I think overall that they played pretty solid.
Yeah, I think that kind of Eagles do this to themselves every year a little bit. Not the Eagles, but the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
We create this crazy expectation every year, and also this doesn't help with, the amount of pub that the O-line's been getting all off season because, rightfully so, they got some game breakers, Lane and Kelsey, they're proven. Jordan's coming on, to show that he's a pretty damn good player.
Yes.
I think game 2 he graded out maybe one of the highest grades since 2014 or something like that. And so there was a lot of expectations going into the season for them. So I could see how maybe it would be underwhelming if they gave up some pressures early and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people have to remember, O-line is like an orchestrated symphony. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah, it takes a while, for you to gel and get used to being around each other. And then it's totally different from when the quarterback has that red jersey on to when that red jersey is off. Now, no one's pulling up at the end,
Game's live.
So, no one's pulling out.
Right.
They're going all in. So, this is the difference there. So, I mean, you expect some of those lows, and but it took some time for them to get together.
Yeah, I mean, usually in the past, we're used to playing in the preseason. Even though we hated it, didn't want to do it at all, we still went out and did it. And I think that, there was some merit to it. As a former player, watching them, I'm like, gosh, they're so lucky they don't get to play in the preseason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leave it up to the guys fighting for the roster spots and stuff. But, I think in the first couple games, you're seeing a little bit of that, the non-game time experience this year. You know what I mean? So I think this last game they did great. I think it's really coming on. That, like you said, they're leading heavy on the run game right now, so it's good to see.
Absolutely. And just to go back on the defensive front now, man, the rookie Carter.
He's a monster.
Man, that young man is an animal.
I screenshotted a picture I saw, and I'm gonna show you. I'll show it to the camera too. But I screenshotted this picture I saw on the internet, and it was on the play where we got the safety, right?
Uh-huh.
Look at this is why somebody came through free.
Oh my God! I mean, look at what he's doing to a double team.
Right. This is just two guys.
I love his temperament. I love the way he plays the game. And, you know, he's going to make it so difficult for offensive lines to even deal with. Because before, you knew Fletcher Cox was going to get all of the attention. And then that's why he was able to get some of those one-on-one matchups. But then now, I mean, you know, even when they did slide to him, he still beat the double team and met Fletcher Cox, who had a one-on-one on his side, and met him at the quarterback. Man, this young man, I'm really excited to see how he's going to continue to progress.
And not to overlook our guy Jordan Davis.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's a monster, and that's just so good to see for the years coming. You know, because we were getting a little long in the tooth on the defensive line side of the ball, and there's been some adjustments. It was great to see Fletch and Graham come back this year, because I think that they have a lot to give still, not just on the field, but with that mental leadership for, you know, the young guys that are coming in from college and stuff like that. Yeah. And what better examples to have than those guys?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I tell you what, man, I think that having these young guys around has really upped Fletcher Cox's game as well. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a little different when you become the mentor and you want to be that leading example and you want to show the type of energy. It's about leaving your legacy now. Right. And I think that has definitely turned his game up a notch. And it's going to be exciting to just see these guys continue to roll. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes you get a little stale toward the end, but then you see these young guys come in and start getting all the glory.
Yeah,
they're really wrecking shop and stuff, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm still a beast.
I'm still the animal. I am still that guy.
Yeah. As we're moving on with the show, we're talking about the big uglies and these little beauties here. Yeah. What are you drinking now?
So this is a Cab Franc. Yeah. And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon. 2019. Both of these are from 2019.
Okay, there we go.
Before everything happened.
Yeah. And as we go through this, man, we're going to take you guys on the inside and just show you why this is one of my favorite vineyards and wineries, man. Angelo has spared no expense when it comes to this place, man. Everything is aged in French oak or in clay pots. We have a wine here that we're going to be drinking later on that's been aged, that's been put through in clay
pots.
Yeah,
instead of oak barrels.
Yeah, man. You know? So you know this is a beautiful winery. So here we go. Yeah, cheers, man. Cheers. Yeah.
All right. So what you do? You take the legs. You know, you look and see what the legs are looking like. Watch and see how slow it runs down the bottle, how many little drips it breaks into. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to get the nose of it.
Get
the
nose.
So you go ahead and put that sniffer right in there. You
go.
Get a big inhale. Yeah. Maybe two of them. And then what you want to do is you take a sip, right? Okay. And what you want to do is you want to take in some air with it. So you're going to do a little... Almost like a sip. So, so you're kind of aerating it as it's coming in your mouth.
You're aerating as you're drinking.
Don't swallow it. Don't swallow it.
You don't swallow it? Okay.
Once you get it in there, then what you want to do is you want to really swish it around.
Okay.
And then you get the full oxidation and all that kind of stuff going on. Swish it around in there, get real crazy with it, and then swallow it. And it gives you a whole different experience. So nose.
All right, nose. All right.
Sip.
That did change it.
It changes it.
Yeah, that did change it. All right.
But I think that's what they do you see in the movies when they're not really drinking their wine. They're tasting it and spitting it in a bucket. I think that's kind of the process, and they spit instead of swallow.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds a little weird. But all right, cool. We're moving on.
Back to camera. First impression, Tampa's D-line was strong, right? They look good. I mean, they look good. It was a great test for our front on the offensive side of the ball. And I think we came out well. You know, I think that it started a little slow, a little questionable, but then it seems like our guys are really catching their rhythm, leaning more on the run. Swift gets a couple big runs out there, and they build the momentum, you know, and they start rolling.
Yeah, man, I think that what you started seeing right there is that the offensive line really started kicking in. And then now, once you start running the ball, that's when you get in Coach Stoutland's wheelhouse, man. Yep. You know, because I think that he's like one of the best coaches in the game when it comes to talking combination blocks. And that's one of the things when you talk about inside zone, outside zone runs, to me, anytime the running back can't cut back, I consider that an inside zone or outside zone run. I know sometimes guys will be like, oh, that was a mid zone, if it's in between the guard and tackle, or it's right out between the tackle and tight end, that's the mid zone or outside zone. But I look at it as anytime the running back can't cut back, it's outside zone.
Yeah, to me, outside zone, it's a cut up, and an inside zone, you have a cut back. That's kind of how I see it, because it's such tight angles on the inside zone that there's nowhere else to go but back. And then if you're stretching everybody, eventually you're just looking for your seam, and you're just going to get vertical.
Yeah, so
that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. So there's one of the clips that you everybody can think about is when you had Kelsey that one time. He pulled, kind of mid zone, and then now got right behind him. Kelsey pulled out there, got a nice block upfield, and then now that's one of your mid zone runs. And then once you start looking at what Swift was bringing to the table, man, it was all inside zone runs. And that's when you operating in Coach Styles' wheelhouse, where you can get two combination blocks somewhere in between guard, tackle, or if you bring the tight end, you're going to get two combination blocks. So y'all just check it out real quick. All right, so right here, we're just going to talk about what outside zone would look like, all right? So here we go. This was one of the plays from the game. So let's draw up this offense real quick, okay? So we got our front. We got the running back to the left, okay? So now let's talk about the defense. We have the end, tackle, the 3 technique, 1 technique, defensive end. Then you got 45 that's right there, and 54 all the way out here. So first things first, declare the mic. Now we get our zone to the right. What's important on this play is that Big Jordan has to take care of that 3 technique. Here we go. Check it out. Now, this play right here is set up perfectly. Jordan takes care of the 3 technique, and we're off to the races. All right, so now let's look at an inside zone real quick. Just a little something different, okay? You can tell by the schemes. Let's draw up our offense. Take it to the grease board. I like it in black. All right, so now we got our defensive front here, 1 technique, defensive tackle. Then we got 54, 45, and that right there is a defensive end, all right? So declare the mic, 45. Now, we're going to get a combination block on the front side there, working to the defensive end. Kelsey left guard are working the 45. Big Jordan and Dallas are working the 54. And then again, you get the running back right up the middle. Here's a good look at it. Combination block. Here we go, right up the middle. 1st and 10, do it again.
And that's one of the things I think Coach Stout. I think he's an excellent coach. When I was playing for him, he really focused a lot on these combo blocks, a lot on the post man and the trail man, and just very detailed about all that. And I think you're seeing it play off out here on the field.
Absolutely. And I think that these guys are just going to continue to get better as a unit, man. The more they play. And then, you had everybody that was, a lot of guys on the team were dealing with flu symptoms, whatever that is. So, I'm glad that everybody's good. You could tell that the energy wasn't there as much, but I think that these guys are just going to continue to gel.
Yeah, and then a lot of times a big concern on the offensive line is depth, and we saw Dickerson go down, who's a very bright young player, strong dude. He gets a lot done at that left guard position. And to watch Opeta come in and fill the role admirably, it wasn't a noticeable drop-off when he was in there. Of course, when maybe you don't know because you were always a starter. But when you get in there in a reserve role, you never know when your number's going to be called. And a lot of times you can have a couple bad plays just trying to shake everything off. And I thought that he went out there and he performed and he did a good job when his number was called.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you go from just sitting on the sideline with your helmet, just
not even knowing if you're going to play that day.
You don't know. And then next thing you know, hey, you got to go. You don't have time to warm up. You don't have time to take those, and it could be first quarter, middle of the second quarter, whatever that time is. You just been chilling on the sideline, staying hydrated and trying to keep your mind in it. Now all of a sudden you got to go. That can be a tough transition. One of the things that I feel is unique about this offensive line is when you have Cam, you have Kelsey, and then you have Dickerson right there in the middle. You have 3 centers. You know what I'm saying? So you have 3 centers that's right there in the middle of that offensive line that can make all the calls that you need and can keep everybody on the right track. And I think that that's one of the unique things about this offensive line.
Yeah, I know Cam was supposedly the heir apparent to Kelsey retiring like a year or so ago, but, Kelsey keeps playing, and we're all happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just think it's such an added bonus to have a center brain out there playing right guard. I know a lot of people were wondering, like, oh, is this going to be the best move for him, or is this, should he stay as an understudy and keep? Bro, if he's strong and he knows the offense, get him out there if he can. All right, so something new to my wheelhouse that I didn't know about was that they make wine in clay pots, and supposedly it is the purest form of wine, and all of the higher end wines are made in clay pots. And what I was understanding is you just get all grape. There's no leaching from a barrel. There's no smokiness or body brought to it from the actual barrel. This is just aged wine in a clay pot.
Here's a picture of what it looks like.
Yeah.
So here we go. Clay pot wine.
Clay pot wine.
Cheers.
This is supposedly the best stuff.
Yeah. All right. Oh, my bad. I didn't do it. Okay.
That's a good wine. There's almost a little pepperiness to it.
Yeah, it does.
I like that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's these are some really clean wines. They're just really nice. I don't know how else to describe it. If you're ever in the area, man, you have to check out Blue Cork Winery.
Highly
Absolutely the best winery, one of the best wineries in South Jersey.
Let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about right now.
What's
you
that?
think I'm going another way? The tush push, bro.
The tush push.
What are your thoughts on the tush push?
I think the tush push.
The brotherly shove.
The brotherly. You know what? I like the brotherly shove a little better.
So, what are your thoughts on the brotherly shove?
I think the brotherly shove is an awesome play. I mean, it's genius, and then no one can stop it. And then it's so funny that everybody wants to complain about it, but no one wants to copy it.
No one's trying to do it. Right?
Yeah, no one else wants to copy it. No one wants to be like, you know what? I'm going to copy what the Eagles are doing just because I don't want to copy it. It's effective. It works, and they're going to have to. I thought that they would change the rule this year, just because of how many people were bitching about it. But here we are again. The rule hasn't changed, and they are just perfecting it now. I do think they got a little fancy the one time when they got down there and they tried to fake it, and then he tripped. I mean,
that's what I was like. This is gonna work great, and then he trips.
Yeah,
I mean, like, you don't think that your quarterback, especially Jalen Hurts, is gonna trip.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be
got
awesome.
excited, got a little ahead of his feet.
Excited! I'm going to score here. Oh damn! I'm on the ground.
I don't have to bash my head into this pile on this one. One thing that I love the most about the tush push, brotherly shove,
the brotherly shove,
is that it comes from the players. I know this for a fact. Jason Kelsey was a huge supporter of this movement because it is the most effective play in football. I knew that this was a big argument that Jason had, and the fact that Sirianni has adopted it makes me really appreciate Sirianni and taking, advice or input from his older players, guys that are actually out there battling. Because, dude, how many times did we have 1 or 2 yards? And we're just like, run that thing. Just run that thing.
Yeah, we're
and all of a sudden, we're going to do a 3-step drop. Real quick. Just cut the end down real quick.
Yeah, man. We're going to go a 3-step drop. We might even go a 7-step drop. I don't know.
We're going to get him with a play action here.
Oh, yeah. It's 3rd and 1, pass 67. That's going to be.
Sell it.
Absolutely. But you know what, man? And then I think that this play also has some rugby backgrounds in it too, man. Because when you look at Jordan Mailata, when he gets down in there, man, I mean, he is moving cats. And I know that that's one of the things that rugby players do as well, is get in there, whatever they call it there. So, yeah, man,
with the cauliflower ear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing for football. I love the fact that people are so fired up about it, they're trying to outlaw.
Hey, oh, my gosh.
Oh.
Get the bee off you. Swat it. Oh, no. Yeah, just swat it.
What are you doing?
Yeah, let it go.
Shoo.
Yeah, there you go.
Shoo.
Yeah, get him off you. There you go. Yeah.
Shoo bee. Don't bother me.
Yeah, the bee is. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. He's back. Yeah, so. But I think that when you look at what the defense are doing, man, there's nothing that you can do to stop it. And you can try to get a brotherly shove on your end to try to counteract it. But, I mean, now that they're showing that, hey, we have a pass built off of this as well, that's just giving the defenses more
reason to not load up in there.
Yeah. So,
they're going to do a quick pitch and just run it around the end,
So even though that was a failed play.
Get away from me.
I still think that play has some positives because now you're showing defenses that, hey, we have something else.
Even if it was incomplete.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a bad throw or something.
We have something else that we can bring off of this. This team is stacked, man, and they're only going to get better as they continue to gel. And I think the more time that you get now, going into this game, I knew that the first pass was going to go to Brown. You know, just because of all the hype and the argument on the sideline or the discussion on the sideline. Yeah, you know, the kerfuffle, you know, that was on the sideline. I think that you knew that first pass was going to go to AJ. And I think that the first pass this week is going to go to Smith just because he didn't get as many catches. So that's my call.
So we don't want him to seem too sad. Or
you know what I'm saying? Because we got to keep everybody up, man. Keep everybody happy.
And then Goddard, you'll just get your balls when it's time.
You're going to get a couple balls too, man. You know what I'm saying? But we got 2 studs out here. We're going to find you some, you know, get you involved in the game because I think the first game, Dallas didn't have any catches. So you didn't really had that many targets. So now, now is your time. I think that this team has so much talent around that they can pick which ones they want to go to.
Do you think that not many other teams are doing it because they're too scared to put their quarterback in that situation that often?
I think other teams aren't doing it just because the Eagles started it.
Yeah, they're just haters.
Yeah, they're haters.
They're just like, we don't want to, but it's a copycat league. Everybody copycats shit.
But no one wants to copy that. No one.
It's too obvious.
Yeah, it's too obvious. No offensive coordinator wants to be like,
it's so simple, but I didn't think of it, and I can't give props to who thought of it.
I can't do it now. I just can't do it. You know, they don't want to do it only because the Eagles started it, and they just don't. You know, this is
moving on. You have the last in the reserve flight, which is the 2019 Williamstown Reserve.
Williamstown Reserve.
We're going to go. The palate here is dried cherries, rose, vanilla,
okay,
anise or anisay, anise. I believe it's anise and earth. Plenty of earth.
Lots of earth. Okay.
Very good to eat with roasted meats, lamb, hard cheeses, and mixed berries.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start the red flight, classic red, which is a 2018 Petite Verdot.
Okay.
Which I think, or Verdot, I believe it's Verdot.
Verdot. Yeah.
Which probably means a small Verdot grape. Petite.
Possibly.
If my French is correct.
Yeah, petite, yes. Petite is definitely.
But this is rich berry flavors of blackberry,
because I took
blueberry.
2 years of French.
Did you?
Yeah, while I was playing. It was terrible. You know, because I was a terrible student at the time. I was playing during the time. You know, it was during my. We. I got, My wife was a lot better at it than I was.
We were taking Italian lessons for a while. My wife is like still continuing to try to practice.
Okay. Yeah, you gave up. All right.
For some reason, my brain goes to Spanish. Because I learned it like in like 8th grade or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So like I'll come up with these like random Spanish words and she'll be like, what does that even mean? I'm like, oh, sorry. Cross some wires.
Yeah. What is yours mean?
We're going to hit some palette of rich flavors of blackberry, blueberry, black currant, and a touch of black licorice.
Black licorice.
I don't know if this is going to be my favorite, but I'll give it a whirl.
All right, give it a shot, man. Well, cheers.
And you do this with soft cheeses.
Soft
grilled
cheeses.
lamb.
Okay, cool.
Probably the char helps offset the sweetness.
What a difference between soft and hard cheeses?
So a brie, like a brie cheese is a soft cheese.
Okay.
And then like a Parmesan
is
Reggiano is like a harder cheese.
Okay.
So like if you gotta like
like the ones that break up.
It kind of like melts almost without any heat type thing.
All right. Huh. There we go.
At least for my limited cheesemonger knowledge.
Hard and soft cheeses.
Formaggio. I don't know too much about the Commanders other than they changed ownership.
Yeah.
The Sixers guy is now a DC guy.
Yeah.
You know,
they got Magic
talked
Johnson
about
down
maybe
there.
going back to the Redskins, but they can't do that, so they're going to stay and be the Commanders for this season, and they might have another change or something like that. It seems very confusing.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, and then there was
the merchandise people are going crazy.
Yeah, the merchandise.
It's like we just want to print shit. Yeah. Let us print it for the years to come.
Yeah, because you got the hog. You know, they tried to go off the hog thing. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
The hogs is more of an era thing. Right?
Yeah, man. So Eric Bieniemy down there with the OC. You know, you still got Juan Castillo down there at the tight ends coach. So you know, Ron Rivera. You know, guys that we're familiar with.
There's some familiarity
down there. But I still want to whoop them. So I have no idea what's going on as far as the team yet. I haven't sat down and watched film because I've been like, any spare time that I get, I watch film of my son right now, who's
Yeah.
in his junior year at Shawnee High School.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so and he's playing left tackle, so teaching him the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, got him out there with knee braces on and
Yes.
ankles
Protect the
braces.
investment.
Oh yeah, man, all kinds of stuff, man. He looks like a pro already with all the equipment that he has on. But I think that no matter what, as long as this team continues to gel,
Yeah.
I don't care who you put in front of them.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Is it the opponent coming up isn't necessarily. We're dealing with multiple Bs right now at this point,
it's
just
just
because
Bs.
the wine is so fire.
Yeah.
They're attracted to wine.
Yes.
Or the grapes behind us, or the flowers.
Oh,
But
flowers.
anyway, I think what you were saying is like, as long as we keep progressing, it doesn't really matter the opponent you put in front of us, because at this point in the season, we're our biggest enemy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as we can cut down on like mental mistakes, keep calling the plays that are productive for us. Not trying to prove anything by any different play calls or anything like that. Dude, ride swift.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let them tote the rock.
Yeah.
Let the line do their thing, and hopefully we don't need to be. You don't need to be a passing team. You need to be a winning team. So
That's
whatever
it.
the defense gives you
Yeah.
is what you take.
Whatever works. Whatever works. If you got to go out there and you got to pound the ball, then pound the ball. If you got to air it out. Whatever it takes to get the win. And then, you know what? When you said that about Swift, we even had a screenplay. And everybody had been crying, oh, man, I want to see a screen. I want to see a screen. I want to see a screen. And, man, they went out there and broke out a screenplay, and it was very effective. It was a little bit different just because it was more like a tunnel screen where they it ran it up the middle. Yeah. It wasn't one of those traditional screens that we used to run all the time that you guys would get out there and get down the lanes and get upfield. But it was very effective with what they brought to the table.
Question for you. When your offense, this is your opinion, when your offensive line is a very successful pass protecting team, do you think it's harder to run screen game because your defensive line can signal like, oh, I wouldn't have beat him that easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really, it gets harder. The better you are at pass pro, the harder it is to sell it. Almost, because you're not good at losing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you're locking, like, I imagine it's probably tough for Lane to just, like, slip somebody and, like, be like, oh, they got me. He's always beating them off the ball. And, he's locking guys down. Like, he's so damn strong. Once they just get in his framework, he just locks them down.
Yeah, he clamps them down, man.
So, like, I feel like it's harder to run a slow screen, a traditional slow screen to your back and stuff, and you got to get creative and try to run those tunnel screens or bubble screens and stuff like that, or a swing screen even, where you get like one guy out or something like that.
But yeah, I think that definitely does make it harder when you are better at pass protecting, because I think also defensive linemen have gotten a little bit more craftier too, where they like, oh, you know what, I shouldn't have gotten beat that quick. Or I shouldn't have beat him that quick. Oh, something's coming.
Right.
Let me turn and find the running back.
Or at least just get in a passing lane or something like that.
Yeah. So I think that it's a little bit of both, where I think that, as you're better as an offensive lineman, when it comes to protecting, it makes it harder for you to just lose so easily. And then I think defensive linemen are getting a little bit more craftier and starting to realize, okay, you know what? I got free too quick. Where's the running back?
Yeah. And then as far as on the defensive side of the ball for the upcoming game, our defense, I just look forward to watching them just evolve and still just be the monsters that they are. Like you said, it's easier for a defense to kind of grab earlier because it's not so much of a concerted effort together. Like they can have one guy going and just wreck shop and draw two people and still wreck shop, like the photo we just saw. But, I'm looking forward to watching them come out and just get after it. One thing I did want to talk to you about specifically, there was a lot of hubbub about, how early the tackles are leaving all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
And so I put a tweet out there recently. It said, this is nothing new.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. Trey Thomas used to leave every play early.
Yeah.
And the ref would come over to the huddle.
Yeah.
Every play.
Yeah.
He'd be like, 7-2.
Yeah.
Help me out, you're leaving too early.
Yeah.
Help me out, you're leaving too early.
Yeah, you get a couple warnings.
Yeah, they warn you.
Yeah.
And then they whine at you.
Yeah.
And if you just stay strong.
Yeah, if you stay consistent.
No one wants to be a nag.
Yeah.
So they just shut up eventually and let you do it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, maybe I'm just wrong with the timing.
Yeah. I think that because the refs they're watching the game as well, But the thing about the whole cadence situation is that tackles aren't watching the ball snap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as a tackle,
There's an audio lag.
yeah, you're listening to the rhythm of the cadence. So all you're hearing is blue 88, sad hut. So you're on that rhythm. And it's been to the times where if the quarterback changes his cadence at all, I'm off.
Yeah.
Because I'm gone. Because every times we're
we've
five.
had that. You'd be like,
We're
be
five.
Like,
We'll get
blue
up
88.
there. Blue
Hey, whoa, you
88.
jump.
And I'm gone.
Yeah.
If you drag that out at all,
And you're like, come on, 5.
yeah, I'm gone. So it would be to the point where all I needed to hear is part of the cadence.
Yeah.
Because he would be the
The
quarterback, like
beginning
he would
letter.
turn, because he would turn, and then, you know, you hear blue 88, then he turns to the right, blue 88. That's all I did, and I'm on my rhythm, you know, and then you go. So a lot of times it's that you're just on the rhythm of the cadence, and then especially when you're on silent count, a lot of people don't realize you're going off Kelsey's head snap. So if once Cam touches Kelsey, then the silent count starts, and you're going off of what Kelsey's head movement is. So whatever that rhythm is that you're used to, you just go.
Yep.
So it's the rhythm of it. So sometimes you might be a little early, sometimes you might be a little late.
As a tackle, you live and die off of consistency.
Yeah. And it's all about and you always want your tackles being first anyway, because you're going up against a faster defensive.
Well, and that's another
rusher.
thing that I was going to say. A lot of times, tackles aren't leaving early. It looks like it because their guards are getting off the ball slow. And so I was watching a couple of lanes, actually, where they were complaining about it. And he was actually leaving exactly when the ball was being snapped. But you got a younger guy in there at guard who doesn't need to get back as far. Maybe he's setting a one technique and he's supposed to drag. So he doesn't need to get off the ball as fast. You know what I mean? And so it's a visual conundrum that the referee sees or that the fans are seeing, because the referee's not calling. The fans are the ones complaining about it. And just because the guard's getting off slow doesn't mean that the tackle's not on time.
So it's okay.
I mean,
we're all right.
But I just wanted to point out.
That's good.
I'm sure you weren't the first one.
No.
But you could have been the first one to just ignore the refs and keep doing it.
He'd be like, hey,
I got you.
All right, I got you. Yes. And then I would line up in the backfield. You know, I would line up as far as I could back. And they were like, 72, you got to move up. You got to move up. I'll move up, and then just keep inching back as the game. Hey, 72, you got to move up. All right.
Spot, but just put your head forward a little bit more.
Because your helmet only needs to break the waistline of the center. Right. So I'm going to play as far back as possible, especially when it comes to pass protection, because it's your event. Even when it comes to run game, because it helps you get your steps down before you make contact. Right. If you get too close up on the line of scrimmage,
you're going to get caught with a foot in the air.
Oh, yeah, man. And then now all you have is a stalemate. And I already sucked as a run blocker, so I needed as much room as I could get. Man, have you watched any of your old games?
Yes. I see the highlights, and it's like, sometimes it's just embarrassing.
Yes.
I can't believe I thought I was a badass out there. You know what I mean?
I had to go do this thing. I did a.
Very humbling.
Oh yeah. When you go back and you watch
these
your old
monsters
games,
out there today.
Oh yeah, because you sit back and all you remember yourself as a badass.
Yeah.
Like I was awesome, and then you go back and you watch your old film, and I'm like, shit, that was fucking awful.
The B scoops on the backside, a whole lot of movement, not a lot of ground being gained.
I look at myself through a coach's eye now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, son, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of positives that I can point out. That
I got a long ways doing this, but I can help you get further.
Yes, you can do better, be better, you know.
Games change.
Yeah, it's changed.
The game's changed. We were obviously usable at that point because they kept us there for a damn long time.
A long time.
Right?
Absolutely. Man, but before we get out of here, man, let's get Angelo in,
let's
man.
get Angelo. Let's talk
so
to
he
him.
can talk some wines.
Like we said, we're going to bring in Angelo. This is his property. This is Angelo Tanteros.
Yes.
Correct? And as I mentioned earlier, he's Greek. He's from Europe. He has all of the secrets to growing great European wine. And thank you for having us, first of all. It's a beautiful property. I know it takes a lot of hard work to get something going like this. And first off, when did you start?
We started 2010. We purchased a property here. I grew up overseas. I grew up in Greece, like you said. My family do have in the grapes and the vineyard family there for 400 years.
Wow. And
they're still growing. Passing down to my dad passing down to my brother. We started in 2010. We purchased this land. There was a lot of trees here. We removed a lot of the trees. And my passion when my dad passed away. I want to do something we always did together and make him proud. This is the wine.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great story. So you actually grew grapes in Greece.
Correct.
What's the difference? Is it hard? Is it a
Actually,
big difference?
it's not it's not a lot of big difference. The difference here we're blessed in the United States because if you work hard, you can do anything you want. You can grow grapes, you can do anything. We're blessed working hard, and you'll be able to get some equipment here because makes life easier. It's very hard to find workers, and farming is not easy. Like
Right.
my grandma lived to be 102 years old, and always say, one glass of wine a day keeps the doctor away.
Yeah, nice. I like that. The earth medicine.
That's right.
The earth medicine. And what we were talking about is your process, how you don't use any pesticides or herbicides. You're able to keep just the natural wine, so you're only tasting grapes. And
I'm trying to do as natural as I can. Remember my grandparents, how they did. And unfortunately, we blessed here. We get some equipment. You can see we have no weeds. We use the top of the line equipment to do that, to treat them. I have my kids. I have 4 kids. They all work here. They used to be up there with a hose and grinding, taking the weeds out.
they probably love the machines.
They do. They're very proud of it now. And, that took us almost 10 years. And now they all work here again and proud of it. Over in Europe, people don't believe in chemicals. People do the best they can in the knowledge because they drink the wine.
Yeah.
And they use wines over there for a lot of different reasons.
Like what?
The reasons they use that for good, like for the blood pressure. They use
Yeah.
wines for a lot of healthy reasons.
Almost like a supplement.
That's right.
Right.
Any medicine you get or lotions you get for the lady, they all have grape skins in it and grape seeds.
Really?
Yes, they do. And again, over there, I remember growing up, my parents, all the ladies used to come and get the skins and put them in the bodies, and it was like, never knew what they're doing. I thought it was crazy to now you come to. And one more thing, I remember, like I said, growing up there, my dad and my grandma always talk to the vines. They say, it's like a baby. As much love you give him, you get back. And you can see here, they talk. Clay pot wines, they started over 6,000 years ago. Oak wines only came to play 2,000 years ago. Over in Europe, everybody uses clay pots. Even if you ever go vacations now, even every house you will see clay pot outside. People use them for flowers now, for beds. The wine is so much better. It's breathed through naturally through clay. And you don't have to use a lot of tests been done. You don't have to use a lot of the stuff they do because you don't have to top them off every month. You don't have to move the wine so many times.
Because you don't lose it in the
That's
evaporation.
okay.
Yeah.
And it just breathes through the clay, and you get all the flavors, from the grapes through your wine. And growing up over there, I remember my grandfather in the basement. That's what they have, and I always wondered why. And he always says, if you want the best, this is how they did it for 6,000 years. That's how we're gonna do it. You don't fix something that's not broken. And we located right in Williamstown, New Jersey. 1093 Bluebell Road, Blue Cork Winery. Please, everybody, to come out every Friday, Saturday, Sundays. We have live music. We have live fairs here. We have a fire pit series coming up. This Saturday morning, we have big activities here. We're gonna have a lot of vendor event. Brings a lot of people out. And don't forget, Black Friday, we have a food truck festival. That usually is the biggest hit. We'll bring a lot of people on Black Friday.
Awesome. You guys heard it. You know where it's at. Blue Cork Winery. You got to come check it out. This place is beautiful. You can tell that he cares so much about it and the detail and the hard work that's put into it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
out.
guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Problem. This is what we plan on bringing to you every week. Talk about the game, chop it up, talk about some wine, talk about the upcoming game. Hope to see you guys, all of our 5s of followers and listeners. Let's multiply that number and have some fun.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, but